In this part, we are going to see which kind of operations we can do in terms of history and building of the model. Now let's extract two commands and place them to our toolbar. It's two icons necessary to move forward and backward in the history of the construction of our model. We have an open solid, therefore a skin, and non-homogeneous solid. This is due to the fact that the pattern feature of the ribs led to the result of an open solid. Taking a step back in the history tree, we are not cancelling the feature, but only asking from ThinkDesign to view the model. In this case, going back by one step in the history, so without the last pattern feature. Moving forward again, we can view the model with the pattern feature. Now, let's reorder our history, asking to move the whole, that we are going to select, after the last feature, the pattern one. In this case, the model is again homogeneous. Let's rebuild it. The last operation now is the whole. If we move forward and backward by one step, we can see it. These whole features removes material also from the pattern rib. That's why we get a homogeneous solid. Even this type of fillet here, if we move it after the pattern, this time we do it by dragging it in the history tree and rebuild, we notice that the fillet, this was of tangency chain type. This type also considers the rib edges, therefore it runs along the tangency chain also of the rib edges. Let's now insert another edge fillet of radius 2. At this step of the history, this type of fillet is not inserted, so let's position with Insert Feature mode. Therefore, on the specific feature, we right-click, Insert Feature mode. It means we position at this moment of the history, so we were in this situation, and in this situation the fillet with radius 2 is made on the whole basis edge. That's why feature, protrusion, fillet on the protrusion, and fillet on the basis. Let's stay on that last feature. Context menu, Insert Feature mode. The result is that we get out of the insert mode, so by a rebuild, we restore the whole history. Now we find out that the fillet is complete because we insert it at a specific moment of the history of the rebuilding of our model. From the history tree, we can select some features, such as, for instance, the through hole on the basis and its pattern. We select them together, right-click, deactivate feature. Here as well, we haven't removed the features, but only ask from ThinkDesign to show up the model without those two features. We restore them by the context menu on the history tree, therefore reactivate feature, and we rebuild. Now let's associate a variable to the feature. Always from context menu, assign variable to feature. We write the name of the variable and we assign it. This type of variable accepts the value starting from 0 and different from 0, where 0 stands for switch it off, 1 for switch it on. That's why, in this case, activation and deactivation of the rib pattern are controlled by a variable that we could set to 0 or to 1. Let's now unhide the datum planes that we had used. This because we are going to view, acting by context menu in the history tree, asking show the driving dimensions of both datum plane that we had created. Let's set to wireframe view. In this way, by modifying the driving dimension instead of entering a new value, We type in the name of a variable, ang, that we want to associate to that driving dimension. We do the same also for the distance of the second datum plane. So we have defined two variables. We are going to hide these driving dimensions to view better our model. We can hide them by the command in the view or by context menu in the history tree. We are possibly going to hide the datum planes as well. We change the visualization mode of our model and we activate the spreadsheet. Let's go and change the values of the variables. We associate 20 to ang and 10 to dist. We rebuild, and of course we obtain a modification of the model, add these values where the driving dimensions of the datum planes. Changing them actually changes the position of those datum planes, and consequently also the position of the profile that had generated the protrusion. Let's set again a value of 15 to the angle and of 20 to the distance. By rebuilding, we can view the new modification of our model. Therefore, we created a parametric model. We adjusted it by acting on its history tree. Now we are going to change its visualizations and possibly hide some entities we don't want to see to have a final result of this sort.